Hello, my name is Catherine Flynn. I want to welcome you to WRAP, Wellness and Recovery Programme. I just want to introduce you to what WRAP is about. Firstly, I'll introduce you to the key concepts. Firstly, we have here is support. Support is a group of people that you have in your life, maybe your 5 supporters. Your support from your main people in your life, maybe your doctors, your friends, maybe your support nurse, maybe your mental health nurse, maybe your psychiatrist, and maybe your best friend or maybe a family member, somebody you can go to in your life. Self-advocacy is who you have who's controlling your life, your own control, maybe taking control of your own life, what you have in your life, what you're in control of, where you are, what you've got to look after in your own life. Education, where you go for your education, what you're looking after through education, through maybe going back on courses, where you look for to do to go back and educate yourself through wellness and recovery, through maybe going through workshops, through going back maybe looking through doing new courses, or maybe just educating yourself through finding out what's available, through maybe going to support groups and all of those kind of things. Then we have personal responsibility, taking responsibility for your own life, your own things. Maybe if you had pets in your life, responsibility, can you look after the pets in your life, responsibility for what you have to do, maybe go for doctor's appointments, responsibility for your medication, responsibility for maybe looking after your meals, looking after personal responsibility for to go out and keep well, to stay fit, maybe go to the gym or maybe go for walks, or just your own wellness, your own health in your life, and maybe to have support of friends, and maybe just to keep in contact with friends, and maybe to stay well. And then hope. Hope is, with me, I would consider hope being the most important thing. Sometimes when we feel down, or maybe when we're at our lowest in life, sometimes it's very hard to find hope, but for us, all of us, hope is what we look for in everyday life. I think sometimes we get up every morning, I think we look for hope in the day, that some new thing is going to be there. We look for some new beginnings, new hope. And sometimes when our everyday is bad for us or something, we find that we've nothing to look forward to. Maybe that friend is there, or maybe somebody else is there holding hope for us, or maybe we are there with our WRAP, and WRAP has been the thing that has held hope for us, and WRAP has given us the hope that we know that we can go on and do another day maybe, or something. Hope is the one thing that lights eternal for us, I think, is that with everything that goes on in the world today, we always hope that tomorrow will be better, or will bring more to us, or bring us something better. So I'll go on now next to what WRAP is about. So we have in WRAP, it starts in green and works its way up to the post-crisis plan. So we have, as each one, it works up, and as it goes up, everything goes farther on. So what we started is our wellness toolbox. And in our wellness toolbox, what it consists of is what we would have is what keeps us well. What keeps us well on a daily occurrence is we would have certain tools, maybe like I personally would have in my wellness toolbox, what I have is a clothes peg. It reminds me of doing the laundry and knowing the fresh smell of maybe sheets, and having then a fresh bed to go into, and I sleep better at night. Maybe you think of something like going for a walk with a friend, and I'd have a tea bag in to remind me that I love a cup of tea. I'd also have maybe a piece of chocolate bar to remind me to take time out and have a piece of chocolate. And there's also in your toolbox is a wellness toolbox is maybe photographs to remind somebody of happy people in your life and good things, to remind you of good things in life. So a wellness toolbox is something that you can return to bring you back to your wellness, where you're like. Now it's also important that wellness toolbox is used, that it's not something that you have that you put away and that's put under the counter or into the press. It's something that you use and that is manageable, and that it's something that you will use on a daily basis, or that you will use constantly in your life. So it's not something that you have to wait and join a gym to do, or it's something that is manageable on a daily basis, that you can access and do it when you're able to do it. So the wellness toolbox is maybe art. I love to do art, so you do art and crafts. So something that's easily accessible in your own house. So the daily maintenance plan, I'd often divide that into three things. So it would be daily maintenance plan, weekly maintenance plan, and monthly maintenance plan. So what you'd have to do daily to keep yourself well. So daily you would have to get up and shower, maybe you'd have your meals daily, you take your medication daily, you would have to maybe keep in contact maybe with some family members or check in with friends or something like that daily. You'd have maybe to you could go and do maybe your routine at home, maybe clean up the house or maybe just clean up after meals and things like that, maybe watch TV or something like that on a daily thing. On a weekly one, maybe you'd have to go and do the weekly shopping, or you'd have to do maybe a weekly wash, maybe you'd do go to meet a friend for coffee on a weekly basis. So they'd be weekly things you'd have to do, maybe clean the house maybe weekly, or maybe just go and do a weekly collection of, go to a weekly support group, or maybe meet somebody for that you would have a special friend that you talk through things out, so that maybe one of your supports here that you would have a special chat, maybe a rap group that you would meet with. So then you'd have your monthly thing that you would do monthlies, maybe check in with your GP, maybe just check that your medication doesn't need to be changed, maybe pay bills is a thing that you'd want to keep on track of monthly. So there'd be other things, maybe like maybe do the gardening maybe monthly, and maybe there's just a few more things that you could add on, but you'd add these onto your monthly maintenance plan. So you would have these things that you could check in on monthly, so that you could know that these would have to be worked on. So then we'd look at triggers and action plans. So here we'd see what are our triggers, what would turn us on, or what triggers us to have maybe to trigger our depression or to trigger us into a burnout situation. So where would we be coming from? Maybe for me a stressor would be family member. I would have a family member who would often trigger me now. She would be pushing me to go out socially, or she would be pushing me to do things that I wouldn't want to do. So awful, I'd have maybe a situation where I would be stressed, maybe overworked. I would be doing too many things at one time. So they're things that I would have to be watching, that I'm not overdoing things. I would suffer pains and things like that, so I have to make sure that I'm not getting overtaxed and things like that. So they're things that I would have to watch. I'd also get stressed if there was planning of a holidays or something like that, that I'm not worried about travelling, and I'm not worried about where I have to go and who I have to be meeting with. So they're triggers that I would have to be watching, and watching health things. So action plans for those, I would write down then what are my action plans. I would make a plan up to do it. So one of the things I would do is, I have two family members. There's one I can mind who was very good for, very helpful for me. So I would go to that family member and I would discuss all the things I would have. And the other family member that is my trigger, I would try and avoid being near that family member who triggers me off, because I know that in a situation she's going to push my buttons and I know that I'm going to have trouble. So I will try and work through the family member that I can work with, and that she can be a liaison for me through to the other family member. So avoid any rows or any problems, and that way for me that's an action plan. In the same way with holidays, I try and avoid doing all the planning and doing all the stressors, and maybe going at a time or making a plan up so that somebody else will arrange it, or that it won't be too long, maybe in an airport or standing around, and make travel bags and everything very, very easy, so that I can actually just carry as little as possible, so that I don't have to be a strain. So I make things as easy as possible for myself. So that way, that action plan takes that triggers away from me. So then I walk on to my early warning signs. And what would my early warning signs? Well, fatigue would be a huge early warning sign for me. Fatigue and getting stressed. So I would have to watch when I start getting tired, I start getting aggravated, I start looking at, I get slowing down. So I would have to watch that. So people would see me getting a little bit aggravated. So what do I have to do in my action plan? I have to go back down here to my wellness toolbox. I have to go back and I have to go maybe do taking cups of tea with somebody, talking about it, calling up my friends, slowing down a bit, watching my wait times, and maybe going and staying away from the chocolate a little bit. I would have to maybe slow down a little bit, mind myself with pain wise, and take rest. So that would be important to me. And the action plan is going back to my wellness toolbox. The wellness toolbox is my thing to keep me well. So then when things are breaking down, I notice that I'm losing control over things. This is where I call in my supports. When I call in my supports, I will need them to come and help me, because I now know that I need that extra support. I need to be talking to people. I need to be going to maybe my mental health nurse. I need to be going to my GP. I need to be checking out what medications I'm on. I am now looking at where things are breaking down. Why am I doing too much? Why is it breaking down for me? Why am I getting to this stage of crisis? I need to go back, slow down to my wellness toolbox again. I need to come back and start revisiting my daily maintenance plan. What am I doing here in my maintenance plan? What am I looking at? What am I avoiding here? So when things are breaking down for me, I look at my list and I see here on my list that what am I doing? I'm losing control. I'm losing my sense of myself. I'm losing all the things that I said here. My self-advocacy. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So here I need to do my action plan. And my action plan is asking for help. My action plan is going to my friends. I'm there, and what I had here in my wellness toolbox, meeting up with somebody, going to talk to my counsellor, maybe going and talking to my doctor, my psychiatrist. So now I've already come here to my crisis plan, and I have to write out my crisis plan. I have here in my supports, I've written out who my 5 support people are. My supports are my doctor, my support nurse, my mental aid nurse, my friend. Now I would be trying to ask one of my support helpers from my rap group rather than my best friend. I would have somebody to come in to help me with the house at home, because I need somebody who will come in and look after my animal at home. I have a little cat, so I need someone to come in and clean and take out the cat and look after the cat at home. And I would need somebody who will be there to look after my medicines and bring them to me and look after that. So I will need the 5 support people to be there for me. While I'm in crisis, I also will have to put on my crisis plans what doctor I would want to see. I would want to see what mental case nurse that I'm with all the time. So in my crisis plan, I would want to put all my medication that I'm taking. Not only the medication that I'm taking with the psychiatrist, I've also got other pain medications that I have with my doctor for my fibromyalgia, so I need to put that down on it as well. So I need to be also what exercise I'm doing and what other activities I'm doing, what art I'm doing, what am I doing, what was I doing in my wellness toolbox, what were the art things I was doing. So I need to have all of this written down in my crisis plan. So I need to have all of this written down in my crisis plan so that they'll know when I go in. They also need to know in that crisis plan what I was like when I was well, because I have that already covered when I was in doing my maintenance plan and my wellness, what I was like when I was well. So I have all of this covered in my crisis plan. So I have been to my crisis plan and my crisis plan is covered. So then when I've gone past my crisis plan, I will have now my post-crisis plan. And my post-crisis plan is when my crisis plan has been done, I'll have my post-crisis plan. And after that, it's when my crisis is over. I need to come back, but I need to have a plan in place, so that I need to tell everybody to back down now, that I'm okay, that I'm ready to take back my own advocacy. I'm ready to go back and I'm ready to take over myself, that I'm back able to take control of my life again. So when is it time for me to take back the handles again and start working? So now I need to be able to go back and take over running of my house, the cleaning of my house, to do the laundry myself. When am I able to go back and start saying, look, I'm ready to go for that cup of coffee on my own? When am I ready to start doing the laundry? So post-crisis plan is just as important. When am I able to say, listen, I can go to that aware meeting on my own? When can I go back and go to my RAP peer group meeting? So they're all the things I need to have planned for my post-crisis plan, that I've arranged to meet a friend out, when I've arranged to meet my supporters, and to take my own personal responsibility, maybe go back into some other groups, or maybe some education, to go back into groups or workshops, maybe to find some recovery through the Recovery College, maybe find some kind of support groups, maybe to join the RAP peer support group, and to join and follow up in those. So through the wellness toolbox, the daily maintenance plan, the triggers, the early warning signs, when things are breaking down, the crisis plan and the post-crisis plan, I have there in all of that done my RAP plan. And through it all, I have avoided, now by doing this, I have avoided coming to the crisis, and then hopefully stayed down here in my daily maintenance and my wellness toolbox, hopefully stayed down in this area and continued with my life. Thank you.